Hi, I want to thank you guys today for getting on. To everybody who would watch, this is Mark and Kim Brown, and I saw their incredible story posted on Facebook, and I reached out to them because they live in Oklahoma, and we met up for lunch, Rich and I, and Mark and Kim. And so I just wanted them to have the opportunity to tell you guys their BG story, how long they've invested, how it has been working for them. And so I guess that's where we'll start. So, Mark, we'll start with you because you both invested, for different reasons. So let's just start with you. How did you find out about BG? How did you decide to start? And then what does it look like? What does your journey look like so far?
Okay, so I'm a military veteran, and a fellow veteran friend of mine introduced me to BG. And at the time, I was skeptical, um, just mainly because I had been in a couple of digital currency programs before, and they didn't work out. I either lost money or the company just closed up and was not seen or heard from again. Um, so at the time, I told my friend, I'll watch you, see how your progress goes, and then if it looks solid, I'll get involved then. So I did that. I watched him for about 90 days. And when he was making probably triple digit returns, is when I decided, I think I would like that. And I got back in touch with him and said, hey, I've been watching your progress. I said it looks good, it looks reliable and consistent. So I'd like to register and get involved. And he showed me a demo. We got on a Zoom just like this, and he showed me how a trade was made because that was something I was curious about, and he was able to show me in just 4 steps how easy it is to use the BG program. And I did get registered. I started. Um, it's been a great journey ever since. I really like, that you can learn while you're earning, and that's how I was introduced to it. Um, I'm not gonna steal any of Kim's thunder, but she checked up on my progress, and then I got Kim to register, so I'll let her take that part on, and then we can finish with the rest of the question. Is that all right?
Absolutely. So,
Okay.
Kim, you heard about it because this guy you live with, he uh he was doing it and you watched him. How long did you watch him before you said, "Okay, fine, I'll try it"?
I think it was like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Not very long. Okay.
No, no. And then I looked at him and I said, I think this is a good deal. I think I want to sign up, but we need to put more money in. So, well, actually, wait, we didn't start, no, I didn't start with the full amount. I started 500. He had started with about 300 at that time because that was still pretty accepted. Um, And so I think we only did the trading with the 500 with me for about a week. And I looked at him and said, if you want to retire within a year, we got to add more funds. So we did. We each added 5,000 more to our accounts.
Okay, so
So,
all in 5,500 for you, 5,300 for him.
yep.
Okay. And you guys are right around your 1 year mark. Happy
Right.
anniversary. So
Yeah,
what
thank
does
you.
it look like for you 365 days later? Where are you at?
Do you want to go first?
Go for it.
Okay. Um, we couldn't have predicted how well it's turned out. I mean, the first thing that I really like as a byproduct of the program itself was, learning to earn the BG way. And then the other part was something that I had been personally searching for a very long time. And that was a business or an activity that Kim and I could both be involved with together. And I mean, this was definitely it. This was the thing that we were both excited to do together, excited to kind of daydream about, kind of open up our mind about what the future could be like. Yeah, and so that was the beginning part of it. The middle part of the journey, the 6 month mark, was, very exciting because we had withdrawn a little bit by then. We had definitely taken out our first our initial investment. So, all of the rest of the profit since then has been, just generated off of the trades that we made. And right now, just to be transparent, in our trade accounts, we have over six figures. So we're doing very well. We're very happy. The future is wide open for us. I actually retired early in large part because of the BG Wealth Sharing Group.
That's amazing. What about you, Kim? What would you add to that where are we at now? How's it going?
It's really going well. Due to this process, like he said, he's retired. His last day was the 27th of February. So he is done working. We're getting ready to move after my son is done with Votech school. We're going to move up by Kansas City. So we're getting our house ready to put on the market. We've already got land under contract due to BG. So things, I mean, dreams we never thought of. By May, if I figure correctly, before we close on the house, we're buying our fifth wheel to go along with the truck that we recently bought due to BG, so that we can live in our fifth wheel and travel while our home is being built on our property that we're buying. And I figured everything, the house, the property, all of our vehicles, everything. The cars and stuff are going to be paid off before we even sell our house here. The RV, we're paying cash. The land, we're going to finance the land. We're already in that process. But the home, we're going to buy with cash. We're going to build it with cash. Our land should be paid off by next summer. And it's all due to BG and them not limiting what you can pull out.
That sounds amazing. So you have said three different things that I'm like, ooh, we need to dig into that more. So you just said not limiting what you can withdraw or pull out. And that is one reason that I reached out to you, is because of your mindsets and your experience. So you have experienced no limitations and you've taken large withdrawals, and you also did it in what I consider to be a very well, not volatile currency. So that's why I was like, this guy knows something I don't know, and I want to know what he knows. So so how has your experience been withdrawing? What does that look like? Like, you guys have goals. You did what I did, put it on a piece of paper or put it on a spreadsheet and just dreamt a little bit. So it's nice, first of all, to dream again. And
Yes.
and then actually you're seeing those dreams become a reality. You're buying things that you couldn't have bought before with cash.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how the withdrawal process has looked for you, and like what types of withdrawals do you take? Like, what are you paying yourself per month right now from your BG account?
Right now, we're pulling out on the 1st and the 15th, so twice a month, because I'm a money figure, and I figured out if we did once a week, twice a week, once a week, 3 times a month, 4 times a month, or twice a month. I figured them all out, and I did about 6 months. To us, we made more withdrawing twice a month. But this month, this month already, we've pulled 10,000 each. And come the 15th, we're each pulling another 10,000 each.
So 20,000 each, 40,000 as a couple.
Yep.
Yeah.
From putting in 5,500 and 5,300, 365 days ago.
Yes.
And your accounts are growing more than you're withdrawing.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I make sure when I figure it because like I said, I'm a figurer. So I make sure that we're advancing the dollars in our trading account above what we withdraw by at least 10,000.
Okay. Wow. Wow. The other thing that you said, Mark, is you said learning to grow the BG way or something like that. Can you tell us simply what you say that is?
Yeah. So the win-win is that we get to learn while we earn, right? I think that's really important. Um, Maybe not to everyone, for some people, they just want to get started and do the investing side, and They're really not concerned with the business or networking or business building part of it. But if you really want to experience the full benefit or everything that BG has to offer, then you can build a team and earn or be benefited by that additional revenue stream of team building, right? So, as you know, Mr. Beard talks about updates, information about the digital currency market, worldwide events and how they affect what we're doing. And then, of course, also building a team and building a business with the activity that we do within BG. And it's 4 simple steps, right? So we all get together in a community. There's a communication app that we use. It's a secure app, and 500,000 of us at this time gather in that group. And then we have a brief learning session from Mr. Beard. And then the trading signal or code is released. We copy that. We go over to the digital currency exchange that we use and we paste it. And then within probably about maybe close to an hour or so, we get our results back from that trade. And yeah, it's not always profitable, but the good thing about Mr. Beard is, and I consider the guy a genius because he's doing things that no other group out there is doing. If we have a bad trade, he makes a replacement trade where we not only earn back what we lost, but we actually profit over and above that. And there is no place else that I'm aware of that does anything like that. So the way that he structured and built the BG Wealth Sharing Group, along with the exclusive agreement with the trading exchange, I think it's a first of its kind in this space. And that's another big reason why we're such big fans and proponents for investing the BG way.
Yeah. And you had said 4-step system. And so if I'm hearing you right, that's talking about going to the messaging system, participating in the information, grabbing that code, taking it over to the trade system, putting it in, and then waiting and watching,
Yep.
right? Right?
You
Okay.
bet.
Yeah, and we like when there's a loss because, like you said, the gain is high above and of course, we're losing 1%, right? It's only 1%. If we lose 1%, no big deal, but it's
Right.
nice that we don't have to lose the 1% because they have a 5-step recovery system. And to my knowledge, we've only made it to step 2 ever. So
Yes,
that's
that's
pretty
correct.
good. 99.6% accuracy, I think is
Yeah.
what we're at. Okay. So, you've already told how some ways this has blessed you. And you guys have gotten to dream again, and you've got big moves coming in the future, and you've already made a few purchases. But how are some ways this has blessed others that you've shared with? Like, is there anybody that stands out that, like, I shared it with Jimmy, and Jimmy's life is different now?
Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay. So the first example that I have, I actually want to talk about 2 of them. Because like I mentioned, I'm a military veteran. I shared it with a fellow military veteran, and he was retired medically, and so he's on a fixed income, and BG has benefited him just tremendously. He's in that phase now where he realizes that he has more than a sustainable income with the consistency that BG has, for us having daily successful trades. It's just I wouldn't say he's a different guy, but he's definitely has less, I won't say less cares, but his concerns are different now, and he's a much happier and I want not happy-go-lucky, but he's more carefree, so to speak. And to see that in a fellow veteran, it is really something that it makes me happy. It fulfills me to be able to help someone who has already served and helped, keep the cause of our nation in the forefront of their mind while they were serving. So that's the big one for me. The second one, I'll do it real quickly. It's a recent development, And another reason why I'm just such a huge proponent for this is that there's no age restriction now for starting with BG. So a child at any age can be registered by a guardian or parent or grandparent, what have you. And before they're even out of high school, they could be financially set for life. They could actually have um what's the word I'm looking for? They can have generational wealth built into their lifestyle before they graduate high school. And just to have that possibility for a young person and to be able to get them in a frame of mind where, virtually no one else in their probably graduating class is thinking it's a treasure, And so I can see that BG is not only going to change adult lives, it's going to change the lives of children and then young people, and they're going to have. I just would be so excited to see how a young person progresses into young adulthood with the blessing of the BG way. So those are my two quick ones.
And what about you, Kim?
The main person I can think of is my sister. She was in a job. She had been in the job for, God, 20 some years. And they started treating her really, really nastily at work. She was getting called into the office, told that because she was pretty high up in there already, and she was being told she had to change her whole persona, the way she treats people. Yeah, it was nasty. So all the people, if these young ones don't want to work, so they'd complain and she'd get called in and get in trouble. And she was working on salary, but she was making sometimes less than her people were because of she works at a blood bank, and they travel. So she was so stressed. She was working 50, 60 hours every week on salary. So I finally, I talked to her shortly after we started, and she just kind of blew it off. Finally, we had a sisters weekend in Lake Ozark, Missouri. And I showed her everything. I showed her where we were at by that point. She went home, and not even a week later, she started. But she started with she started with about 2,000. And she's made it to the point where in December, she was making more than she was at work. So she quit. She's a lot happier. She's volunteering at a women's shelter. When you talk to her, she's not crabby. You could tell work was stressful for her. And now she's like, sometimes I just don't know what to do with myself. So she's volunteering. She's volunteering. She's working out. She's got a trainer now. I was like, good for you. Her husband got deployed. He's in it too. So he's I think he's in Germany right now. So she's on her own, but they're both working it, and she's happy being home.
Right. So how do you share this opportunity with the average Joe who says, what is that? Or tell me more about that. Like, how do you start, Mark? Like you break things down in a really simple way. I was really grateful for the way you break things down, especially in the digital currency market, where a lot of us feel like that seems scary and imaginary, and we don't know anything about it. So how do you break it down simple?
The first thing that I do is just in a routine daily conversation, I just keep my ears open and listen for cues that people give about, their financial situation. And if I feel like BG would be a good fit for that person, it's not like I'm prejudging or anything like that, but sometimes people are just predisposed to sharing information about their situation or frustration about a situation. A lot of times that has to do with their financial status or a financial challenge that they're going through or what have you. So if I don't hear that, sometimes I'll just ask someone, so do you invest? Right? That's a pretty innocent, question. Some people may look at it as a prying question. So if I feel like they're guarded, I'll just say, hey, can I ask you a personal question? And then I'll say, do you do any investing? Right? So if the answer is yes, then I'll introduce BG If the answer is no, then I'll introduce BG. So either way, I'm going to talk to them about it. It just
Yeah.
depends on, how they answer that question or that curiosity, right? And then I basically say, if you can copy and paste, you can do this. And then I'll talk to them. I'll explain the 4 steps because, they're very easy. And if they can copy and paste, they can definitely do it. A lot of times I talk about the size of our group. I mentioned it earlier, but I will again. We have 500,000 people in our group from 100+ countries around the world, and our oldest team member is 92. So if a 92-year-old can do this, virtually anybody can do it, right? And so it is easy. It's a process. I mean, if you can set a reminder on your phone or an alarm on an alarm clock just to remind you at what time the trades are, you won't have any problem whatsoever. There is a complicated term for what we do. So sometimes I'll mention, hey, we do short-term contract trading. That's the technical term for what we do. And I wouldn't say people's guards go up, but a lot of times there's a kind of a response like, what the heck is that? Right. So then I will immediately try and, put the roadblock down and say, hey, I know that sounds technical, but what we do is really a simple process. So I'll just go back to the 4 steps and explain it and just carry on the conversation from there. Because, the registration process it's pretty simple. It's just filling out information and then, waiting for it to be approved and the account to be verified. It's really not complicated. It's just, it's just a process. It's just interacting with another person, our executive assistant, to verify the account. So the onboarding process is also very easy. But then that's how I do it. I'll let Kim tell you how she does it.
Would you add anything to that, Kim, or is yours different?
It just depends on the person. Some of my friends, I know that they probably won't do anything. So if I'm sitting with them, I'm doing my trade and they ask what it is. Well, if they ask, I'm going to show them. So I'll just show them what I'm doing. They either, whatever, or they say, oh, tell me more. Sometimes that's the best way because if you just bring it up, they're just kind of like, nah, nah. We got a lot of skeptical friends and family, so, and then I'll just tell them, if you want to know more, we can do coffee. We can go out for lunch, and I've done it a couple times, but I'll be honest with you, a lot of my friends that I've told still haven't joined.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're scared or just not sure, or it may not be the right time for them,
Yeah.
So, but I found I try to be very sincere about the process. And I tell them it can change your world if you let it.
Yeah.
You just got to get started. And you can do with that what you will. I'm not going to bother you. We're not going to say you have to sign up. You got to do this. You got to do it at this point in time. When they're ready, they'll get a hold of you. We've had a cute few do that, like my sister. It took a while. She finally got in.
So if today was the day this opportunity landed in your lap and you could start all over again today, is there anything that you would do differently than the way you have invested? And if so, what would you do differently?
Start with more right from the start. Don't start with 500. Do the top amount you can. And then we kind of, we took quite a bit of time before we started talking to people about it as well. And I think that's why we haven't grown as fast as some people, but we don't have the friends or family like some of these people have. We're I don't know if it's where we live or who we're friends with, but the skepticism is really high, or they're more traditional. But yeah, we waited and took our time, and I wish we would have started getting information out to our friends and family sooner. So
Mark, would you do anything
I would
differently?
echo that.
Mhm.
Definitely making more of an investment upfront, initially. The concept that the the group or the process is based around is to invest once and then to continue to earn as long as you like. So that right there is really, I think revolutionary, you know. And when I explain it to other people, they're like, well, how much do you have to do per month? And then I'll say, you don't have to do anything per month, you know. You can always add to it if you like, but yeah, the structure of it is invest one time and then continue to earn from there. So yeah, Kim would have invested with a higher and a bigger initial investment. And that, you know, it just really snowballs and gets the profits rolling even quicker. The second thing, like Kim said, I probably would have started showing my proof of earnings sooner to share with other people. And then also the proof of withdrawal, because that's a lot of times two concerns that people have. Hey, you know, prove to me that you're earning real money, right? And then the other one is, have you withdrawn any? And so that's something that I did, was just created a group on Facebook where either every day or every other day I would show, hey, this trade or these two trades made me this much this day, right? And that way I have kind of a running tally. I know Kim tracks it, you know, by line because she's a number cruncher. But so we do it a little bit differently, but it's not a problem between the two of us. Those were the things that we would do different.
So you both mentioned that you would invest more sooner or more upfront. And so how long, so you started with 300 and 500, and then how long was it before you're like, let's put another 5,000 each in? So you're saying basically we could have earned more faster had we put in the 55 and the 53, but like how long was your delay? And was it in part due to the other times when you've invested in something that didn't work out, you know?
Mark invested with only 300 because of the burn. You know, we'd been burned before, bad. Um, and I think I didn't sign up for a couple weeks after he started because he kept showing me what he was doing. And I was like, okay, I'll do 500. So I started with 500 and we were going, and not even a week later, we were talking about things, and he goes, well, I'd like to retire soon and sooner, and we'd like to move closer to home because, you know, home is very far away where we grew up. So I told him, I said, to do that, we need to put more in. So I found a way to get us each an additional 5,000 to put into our accounts. And I'm glad we did, because it changed significantly the way our track was going. So do
So
what you can up front.
you mentioned so my final last questions, because it looks like we have about 9 minutes left. You've both started sharing and you've done the team aspect. I'm sure you shared because you saw that it could change people's lives. Um, you are level what managers? First of all, that's question number one.
We're both level 2.
Level 2. Okay. And so that
Mhm.
means you each invited 5, and then you have 2 that also invited 5. So you have at least that big of a team. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other question is, what advice would you give to new investors? I mean, well, any other advices that you would want to share with new investors, new team members?
Okay, mine would be to utilize the corporate website to emphasize the efficacy or the legitimateness of the business itself. That's a question that I get in talking to new people many times as well. Is this for real? Right? It sounds too good to be true. Is this registered appropriately? Blah, blah, blah. And our corporate website does a terrific job of showing the business registrations. Another feature of this particular business is that it's registered with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. That's a government group that protects investors in the United States of America. And the BG Wealth Sharing Group didn't have to seek out that, you know, that benefit. They didn't have to advocate for that because the headquarters it's headquartered in the United Kingdom, right? Well, they just took and went a step farther by getting that registration and protection for people who invest in the United States. So that's a big one for me, is just to show that legitimacy of the business up front. And that really just answers a lot of questions for people who are curious about the legalities of this business.
Yeah. Basically, what his information is really good, but you got to remember how you come across as well. Don't be pushy. People that turns a lot of people off. The more aggressive you are, the more they back away. So don't be pushy, don't be aggressive. Show them the facts, be very sincere about all the information that you're giving them, and let them see your sincerity and let them decide. And like I said, sometimes it may take them a while, but they may come back to you and say, you know what? Let's do it. Because you're not pushing them. Think about when you've been pushed on doing something. Does it turn you off? It turns me off. In fact, I'll turn the other way and I probably won't get in contact with you ever again. So sincerity, just be a nice person. Come across as a sincere person, and you should be okay.
That's excellent. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything else you'd want to share about your BG journey and the benefit to others?
Yeah, mine are, I'm really excited for the future because, things continue to develop and are being built out as we go. Like I said, we're at 500,000 in this group and we're growing, bigger every day. So I'm excited to see, really how big can a group like this get? That's exciting because it's it's a large group and it's spread out across the globe. So it's got to be a challenge for our CEO, but he makes it look easy. So that's really interesting just from a business building standpoint. And then also from being in the digital currency space, it's also a new frontier, And so I'm excited about that. I kind of geek out on that part of it, the digital currency part of it. I'm really excited about. We did have our first annual convention here in the USA this past year. So I'm excited to go to actually in person the next one in this year, which should be 2026. I think that will really be an enjoyable time. We do have a larger team, and so being able to meet up with our team and just be around with all the other BG group members in the USA and those that fly in from other countries, it's going to be so much fun. We're looking forward to that. And I'll get off my soapbox so Kim can add a couple things.
I really don't have much.
I took it all. Okay. Those are the things we're excited about.
Well, I am
Change-
excited for you guys, for your move, for all the dreaming and all the things that maybe maybe retiring early wasn't on your bucket list even, and now you have a new bucket list.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was not even in our back burners, because, our age, we're not that old yet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say how old we are, but although I don't care if people know, we're 54. Okay. So retirement really wasn't even a thought, but then all of a sudden it was like we started doing this and I was like, well, we could be doing so much better if we put more in, and we did. And then I started tracking and I was like, oh, we did better this month than I thought we would. So I refigure and I was like, when do you want to quit? And he gave me a time, and we originally was May. And I said, we're doing well enough. You can quit the end of February. So that was, life is wonderful. This
Well,
is great.
congratulations. Welcome to retirement. And
Thanks.
thank you both for taking the time to just speak here. And I know that this will encourage my team members who take time to watch it, but also whoever you want to share this with. I think it's incredible. I think it's an incredible opportunity. And I feel like you do a really good job of making it. So it is simple, but you know, when you say digital currency, it feels big. And I think
Right.
when you see how simple this is, that you don't have to spend hours learning the market or trying to, these are short term. And that's another thing. I think you could speak to this, that it doesn't actually, the market doesn't affect you. Like
Right.
people were asking the other day, oh, Bitcoin's way down. How's that affecting your thing? Not at all. Right? Because
Right.
our trades are 60 seconds.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand we're not actually trading on the coins itself.
Mhm.
We're trading on if the market's going up or down.
Yes.
So,
Like stock options, except I'm sure it's called something else.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. You guys have a blessed night, and I will be excitedly watching your journey as you get to move and build and be with your family on a big giant piece of land in Kansas.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You guys have a good evening.
You
Bye,
too.
Teresa. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.